get to it. All right, welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Doobyis. This is called Fly In Formation. It's a spin-off segment from my radio show, mix show that I do. Of course, it's online. I call it a radio show, but it's an online show. It's a mix show where I play an hour worth of hip-hop every week. It's independent music from across the country. I try to do my best to stay on top of the local scenes and really play the new release stuff. So music from the last month is mostly what you're going to hear on After the Smoke is Clear. You can find that mixcloud.com/Doobyis. Of course, Doobyis.com is the hub for everything that I do. If people are in live chat here on Twitch, feel free to say hi, ask questions. If it's a good question, I'll ask Lotus. And yeah, I appreciate people coming through, checking out the channel. Hit the like and follow and all that good stuff. We're trying to build up the numbers, build community over here. But without further ado, today, my guest is Lotus James, Toronto-based MC, got a new project out called Wordplay King. I listened through it a few times today, and I had listened to it before, just as it dropped, I want to say like a week or two ago. When did that project hit?
My bad. I'm just fixing my light. My kid was, we're trying to conserve electricity in my house.
Oh, shit. Emerge from the darkness. Welcome.
Shit, I don't even totally remember what the date was, to be honest with you. It's been like maybe 2 weeks, something like that. Early September.
Okay, I'm looking on Spotify right now. It says September 6th, it looks like. So, yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Great timing to talk about it, man. I really I like the album. I think you did great on it. It's kind of like a quick play, 17 or 18 minutes or something like that. But nice and cohesive. A lot of the kind of beats merge well together. It has the same feel throughout. I guess to start things off, maybe do you want to just tell people what they should expect going into that album?
So essentially, like a lot of the music that I make is like super introverted, and a lot of it's like my story and things like that. And I think this was just something where I'm like, I think people lose sight of the fact that like I can rap too. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
it was more for me, it was like a flex. It was like, I don't traditionally rap over like no drum beats and stuff like that. That's not really what I do. But it just seemed like it was like a test for me. So it was quick. I mean, I did the project in about a month. I found a few producers online that I liked, and I was just like, you know what, let's just go for it. So that's really, really all that it was for me, was just, let me at least remind people, like, I'm good with this wordplay shit too. You know what I'm saying? I think people got kind of lost in the sauce with what I do is just sad boy, introspective, crybaby shit, right? Where this was like, we're gonna put the pen to work.
Yeah. You normally kind of lean into some melody on some of your stuff. Not so much of that on this project, though. Hey, it was pretty much just barring out the entire way across. It also kind of felt like, listening to it, it felt like kind of an announcement, like, I'm here, plant the flag, kind of ready to take all challengers, kind of announcement to the world. You kind of feel like, have you leveled up to get to this point? Is this a kind of a new level to get to?
It's weird for me because, like, to be honest, like, I pop my shit, like, I felt like unfuckwittable for like a long time. And it seems like a lot of heavier names in the city have always kind of embraced me and showed me love. I think this one, because so essentially I have an album coming next month, and I've had an album that I've been working on for a long time, like I'm gonna say probably 3.5 years, and it's kind of intimidated me. I don't necessarily feel like it was a level up. It was just a level in a different direction, if that makes sense. It was, like I said, it was just for me. It was like it was an experiment for me to do, because again, I traditionally haven't rapped over no drum beats, and there's a couple with drums on there, but I try to just kind of see if I could fit into that universe, and I felt like I did a good job on it. So,
Yeah, definitely,
I'm
man.
happy
I
with the
think
project.
it's actually, I'm, I hadn't really thought of it, but it's actually like up there with some of my favorite no drum stuff that I've really heard. Like, I gravitate towards lyricism and bars or whatever, but so I do appreciate some of that drumless stuff, how it allows the artist more space to shine. And I think, especially with, you named it Wordplay King, there's a ton of wordplay on this album. It really allows people to focus in and pay attention to what's being said. Was that the intention, to make the main focal point the lyrics on this one?
100%. And like, I really genuinely believe from the bottom of my heart, like, I have a layered pen. And I think that's what it is for me, is like, I'm not the traditional rapper of like, duh, 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 punchline, duh, 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 punchline. And
Mm,
that's why I chose Wordplay King, because, there's stuff in there that, like, even me, I'm like, man, I didn't even realize how intricate that scheme was, or this or that was. And I feel like this is something where you could listen to this 20 times and you might not even ever catch some of the actual wordplay that's thought out in there
yeah,
without me breaking it down to you. And I think that's what it was for me. It was, like I said, there's a lot of guys that punch heavier. There's a lot of guys that do things better than me. And I don't pretend that that's not the case. But I genuinely feel like, in terms of structuring out an 8-bar scheme that stays on topic, while also, essentially, I guess the way I look at it is, when you listen to a verse of mine, everything works on its own, but then there's a layer behind it where it's like I didn't even catch that there was punchlines or wordplay or metaphors hidden
yeah,
within it. And I think that's what this is a testament to. Like, there's records like Finishing Moves and stuff like that where it's just riddled with wordplay.
definitely.
Um,
Yeah, I
so
even noticed like some tracks have kind of, sports references, others have more video game, comic book
yeah.
references, but everything's super reference heavy. And like you said, a lot of double entendres. So people
Yeah.
can catch it one way and then hear it again. I listened through it a couple times today just because it is a nice short album, easy to get through. And
Hmm.
so, like, on a couple plays through, the first time that I listened to it, I kind of thought, like, okay, this is kind of an open threat to the entire industry here. There's a lot of kind of like battle rap styled kind of diss bars to, and on my first listen, I was thinking like it's battle rap against the nameless, faceless MC that everybody's always shitting on, right? Like that fucking guy who shouldn't be on the microphone that we all diss on
Yeah.
so much over the years, right? And then
100%.
listening to it again a couple times though, like actually that finishing moves track kind of made me think like, oh, hold up, maybe this is a little bit more pointed than I thought it was. And I don't need you to name names, and I'm not going to name names of who I suspected, but
Oh,
I don't talk
bro,
to a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
be
guys who
honest.
pay much attention to the Canadian scene, but like there's
Yeah.
some Canadian guys who have released some wrestling albums lately.
Yeah, listen,
You
I'll
know,
put it on whoever the shoe fits, wear it. Like, for me, it just felt like, and again, there's a couple. Like, I'm not, it is what it is. Like, everybody who knows. There's
yeah,
a couple of these guys, and for me, it just seems kind of corny. It's just like you're leaning into something to kind of, oh, I'm gonna be embraced. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I got hit up by somebody asking me to do maybe a wrestling podcast off of that. And I was clear. I was like, look, man, I don't want it to come across like, yo, I'm doing this as the form of a wrestling stand. I'm doing this to make fun of the guys that are just gimmicking off of the wrestling stand
I,
category. That's
I
that's
caught
kind of
that.
my
I,
take.
I I caught that exactly. Listening to what you were saying on that track, like, you know,
Hmm.
you obviously have liked wrestling at some point, or at least watched wrestling, to
Yeah,
some degree,
100%.
because all sorts of references. There's all
Yeah.
sorts of different names and stuff in there, and even
Hmm.
compared to, some of these wrestling albums that I have heard, there was some clever word plays around, just like using the term attitude, or like just various different things that you were using the words in just full sentences rather than like, I do this like
Yeah,
that
I jump
wrestler
off.
or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
I do the jump off the top rope like Rob Van Dam. It's like, oh, it's
yeah.
cool, it's cute, whatever, but there's just no intricacy to it. And that's my
It's
thing. Is like, if you're gonna do it, it would to me it was almost like, all right, you guys want to do this shit? I'm gonna show you how to do it. This is how you would execute this. And that's how I felt about it. Um,
Right.
listen, I'm a competitor by nature. Like I really, there's not many guys in this, not even just Canada. Like there's not many guys, period, that I feel like when I'm in rare form that I can't at the very least go bar for bar with. I'm not gonna say
Sure.
I'm the best rapper that's ever existed, and I'm not gonna say all that shit, but I'm gonna say I'm willing to put my pen next to anybody. Jay-Z, fucking Black Thought. I'll
Yeah.
rap with any of those guys,
To me,
right?
man, like best is all so subjective, and
100%.
it's fun to have the top five dead or alive kind of
Yep,
barbershop talks or whatever with other people who know the culture. But like ultimately, I think reasonable people kind of realize it's art, and everybody's going to have different
100%.
preferences, and
Yep,
everything has a time and place where it's best at, even right.
100%.
And and so yeah, to declare someone the best is a lot, but I would agree that like you've definitely reached a level where a listener can hear it and understand that you've mastered the style that you're doing. Um,
Mhm.
and I think a lot of different artists get to that stage at some point, and then it becomes a preference of like, is Busta Rhymes better than Nas? Ah,
Exactly.
you got to get real mathematic and try to break down science about like, well,
100%.
albums, and if you compare
Yep.
who has more singles or whatever, like ultimately
Yeah.
though, it's just like, no, people reach a level, and that's the upper echelon, and once you're there, you're
Yep.
rarefied air or whatever. And yeah, from what I'm hearing on this
100%.
album, man, I would agree that your pen game is definitely there. Delivery's on point. You did well on this, dude. And you have been doing well for, I've been doing AtSick for 6 years. So I think I've played, your solo stuff. I've played a lot of features over the years. But you're consistently at a very high level of lyricism. And you mentioned being competitive, and there's a bar on here that caught my ear about how like every time I'm on a track with that guy, I kill him or something along those lines. And I kind of wanted you to talk a little bit about like that competitive spirit, even against guys who you're working with, you're collaborating with. Um, are you trying to one up even people on their own tracks if they're buying a verse from you?
Oh, 100%. That's to me. And again, like you, like when we go back to preference, there's guys that I respect, like Philly Rego. There's, Philly Regs. I don't know if you're super familiar. Like there's guys where I get a verse back. I'm like, fuck. Like, he cooked on this shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
I know, and I'm willing to accept that man, maybe this is the one he kind of got me out of here. So it's not as though I'm so um I'm so ignorant and conceited that I'm like, yo, nobody could ever rap better than me, because
Right.
some days it's just not your day, right? But I always want to, definitely. Anytime I go into anything that I'm doing, putting my pen behind, I absolutely. Now, there is the rare case where, I've sent records off to guys where it's more of a song, and then I get back like a super rapidy verse, and it just doesn't work, right?
Mm,
So it's like, yeah, maybe like from like punchlines and wordplay and how fast you rap. Maybe in that sense, you might have got me out of here, but it just doesn't work on the record because it
right.
changed the whole feel. So sometimes I'm not gonna sacrifice the song for me having like the most technical verse, but if we're on some rap shit, I absolutely want to get you out of here. I want you to feel like, fuck, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Because
like that, man. That's a good mentality to have as an MC. Everybody should be, well, because it pushes everybody to a higher level, right?
100%.
If everybody
Yep.
has that mentality. So, yeah.
Yeah. I want to work with sharp pens, man. And I always have. I got good by working with, I was part of a group when I was really young, like, I don't know, maybe 15, 14, 15. I was part of a group, and there was one dude in the group that was just way better than everybody, like way better than all of us. And that really just is part of the reason that I've honed my craft, is like being that guy. I remember watching, the reactions to our music. It was like everybody was like, yo, just skip to that guy's verse. And slowly but surely it became, like you're saying, a preference, right? It was like some guys will say I got everybody out of there. Some guys will say he got everybody out of there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was what fueled me, is like, you know, that competitiveness, that, bro, like I can work harder than this guy. I can put more time in the studio. I lack at a lot of other things. I'm not great with promotion. I don't really do a lot of shows. I don't, you know what I mean? Kind of just stick to myself because I've been doing music a long time.
Sure.
And I don't really like to get involved with the politics and the bullshit with music. If I'm
Yeah,
being
man.
completely honest, it seems like there's just a lot of hoopla and polys, and this guy's getting punched out and da da. And I just don't have the time, energy. I'm a dad. I have my own business. I'm a husband. I don't have time for that shit. So to be honest, I just want to make the music. I love making the music. Whatever comes with it, comes with it. But the other stuff, I'm kind of good on that, man. I've been
Right.
tarnished from so many years of it.
Yeah, that's completely understandable, man. One thing I ask a lot of artists is, do you get more kind of fulfillment from the stage or from the studio side of things? You kind of just answered that, but has it
Well,
always been like that, or did it used to be, you
I
know,
still I
more
still
fun getting on
enjoy
stage?
I still enjoy performing. I just feel like what happened with me is I ended up in like the wrong kind of crowds, and I go to shows, and I'm an extroverted guy in small functions, but when there's a lot of people, I stick to myself a little bit more. And I found what started happening is I came across like an asshole, and that leads sometimes to issues, right? It leads sometimes to people
Yeah,
not liking you for reasons that aren't real. Like it's not a substantial reason,
people
but
thinking you're on the high horse or whatever,
and
but
it's
really it's
yeah,
just like getting in the zone to do a show.
100%. And I love, like, I did my last show I did was at a small little tiny venue. It was at I can't remember the place, Cops Records or something. It was almost like a tiny desk vibe. That to me was perfection. I loved every second of it. Small, intimate crowd. Just yeah, it's more, I guess, the politics of it all is why I don't really, it's
Yeah,
not for me. I love
sure.
performing, but at what cost?
Those tiny
So
desk concerts are so dope, man. I think, like with the pandemic and whatever, there was a lot of like people talking about like, oh, and I tried to do an online performance and it was fucking brutal. It just sucked or whatever. But like that tiny desk, it's good to have a small crowd, but then like also tape it from multiple angles and give it to the world as a stream or as a video that we can watch afterwards. Because those
100%.
performances are so dope, right? Just the unplugged um kind of straight to the people nature of it or whatever. There's something about a live crowd, obviously, too, and going out to actually see concerts, of course. But
Oh, 100%. I
yeah,
liken it to somebody like I saw J. Cole, but when J. Cole, before he actually blew up, I saw J. Cole at what used to be Sound Academy in Toronto.
okay,
I think
yeah,
I don't even know what it's called now. They've switched it like 17 times. Um, but the first time I saw him was before he was really big. There was maybe 500 people in the crowd,
damn,
and it was amazing. It was one of the most incredible things I've seen live. And I went back the next year, and J. Cole had found a little bit of success by this point. And not that his performance wasn't great, but everything else about the show for me was like, oh, why am I here? It was just
mm,
packed, and everybody's sweating on each other, and everybody's blowing cigarette smoke in each other's face. And it was just like, I need to get out of here now. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think that's the tough part for me. My wife and kids, they love concerts. My wife and my son just did Post Malone. That kind of environment gives me heightened anxiety to no end. So
It's a lot, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
How about I guess you mentioned kind of the beats for a second or two, and finding them online. Was it people you'd worked with before, or was it completely cold calls to work with these producers?
Oh, just listen, man. I went on BeatStars. I found a few guys I like. There's a guy from Toronto that did, I think, two of them. Talent Ted is his name, which is a
Kind
clever
of a dope
name.
name. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's
It's
another
nice you
guy
can find
called
somebody on BeatStars who's actually like in the same city or whatever, actually local,
yeah,
right? Because as
a hundred
compared to
percent.
working with some dude from Tennessee or whatever who you're never gonna link up with.
Yeah. And then, I've worked with all the producers in the city. Um I'm like a picky guy, but I also self-destruct, right? So I'm somebody who, like, if I get sent a beat and I love the beat, but there's one little thing about it that I don't like, I'm like, I don't know how to tell a producer I don't fuck with this sound, so then I just don't
Right.
use the beat. Because I feel like, I don't want to insult their ear and stuff like that. So it's like a self-destructive trait that I have. It's
Yeah.
rather than just push through and collaborate on it. I'm like, nah, the beat's not for me. So I think I'd get further ahead if I was willing to give my own input or whatever. But it's just, man, I'll be 34 this year. I've been like this for the better part of 20 years, man. I don't know if there's any change in me now.
about the reverse situation where have you ever had a producer question a bar or a delivery or try to critique you that way? Because I was talking about this with a couple other different rappers, and I don't think many rappers do get honest critiques from anybody. I think, you know, your homies are going to gas you up. Even your other rapper friends are going to generally not really critique it. They'll tell you if they like it, but you'll just hear silence if they don't like it, kind of. I think.
Yeah.
Is that your experience with it too?
Um, I think maybe now people are like less willing to like just with like the levels that everybody are at and like all like the peers that I work consistently with are people that I respect high level, like
Hmm.
high level. And I think that some of the guys I work with are arguably some of the most talented people I've ever heard. Not just me, like I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about people I deal with. Like I said, I can't stress enough how much everybody needs to check out Philly Regs. I think he's the
Yeah.
best songwriter in Canada. Deeper than just like an MC. I think he's just a phenomenal songwriter. I deal with a lot of guys from the States, I do. Um, but I think for me, because my come up was different, I started really young and I had a lot of OGs around me that were like, no, go back in and re-record. I
Yeah.
got thick skin and I don't get sensitive really too much about it. Like, I remember when I first started performing, I would just get all fucked up, drunk, forget all my words. I'd go on stage and act like an idiot. Um, and then I had a big show at Sound Academy, and DJ Wiz and my manager at the time, Gio, they brought me to do some, rehearsals and stuff like that. And Wiz the whole time is just yelling at me, whack, shut up, you suck, heckling me, and it really kind of built me up. And then the performance after that was like night and day, like absolutely night and day. We opened for uh, Redman and Method Man, and man, like everybody when I came off stage was like, "Whoa, where were you?" Because everybody else was just bringing 20 guys on stage,
Yeah.
smoking a blunt, playing the song in the background. You know, I got one hype man and a DJ. Let's get after it. So again, it's not that the performances were ever a real issue for me. It was more just like I said, the environment. But yeah, I don't know. Most guys that I deal with on a regular basis, if something's whack, they'll tell me it's whack. I guess that's the roundabout point. Is most of the guys, because of how small my circle is, most of the peers I deal with that I trust their ear will be like, nah, bro, change that, change this. And I never take it to heart. I
Yeah.
want that, right?
Especially at the start of somebody's you know, journey into music, I think it's important to have somebody around you who will give you that honest critique and
Mm-hmm.
who knows maybe a little bit better than you do at that point or whatever. Somebody to learn some of that from can go such a long ways. And you know, then as your career advances it becomes less necessary or whatever, because you're going to
The
critique yourself and know what you're looking for yourself. But yeah.
the toughest part, if we're gonna be honest, is I've had a few young homies and stuff that got into rap, got interested. The toughest part is telling somebody that and they get sensitive, especially somebody you care
Right.
about. Like I got homies that like those are my homies. They got into rap and I can be harsh. I did this a long time. I worked my ass off, man. At one point I was doing 4 verses a week, putting them out. And so I was hard on a couple of these guys, and you could tell it kind of got under their skin. Um, and it's a tough balance, right? It's a tough thing. And you always get the same thing. Oh, you know, other friends of those people will be like, well, he's not famous, so why are you taking his advice?
Right.
Right. And you get that kind of shit too. But it's like, I know about 10,000 hours. I may not,
Yeah.
I can't, maybe can't tell you about riders and $1 million tour buses, but I could tell you about 10,000 hours. I could tell you about
Sure.
honing my skills.
Yeah, about
So,
the actual bar structure more
yep,
so than the, you know, necessarily how to get on in the industry. Maybe that's a whole
exactly.
different cheat code to know or whatever. It
Yep.
seems like anybody who does, they handle the art side, and then they've got a team full of people who handle that kind of industry side. You need somebody who knows both sides well to
100%.
really, you know, make it work like that. Um, Dude, there's a track called Album Cuts on the album where you talk about I don't know. I think the opening bar is like, I'm pushing album cuts to a generation that's singles driven.
Yep.
And I kind of thought to myself like, is it the generational thing at this point? It might just be that technology has advanced to a point where now in 2025, like, even guys in our 30s, I'm 38, and like I kind of have a tough time listening to full albums at this point because there's just such a flood of music. And I mean, most people aren't as tapped into that flood of music as I am, but I'm listening to 7 or 8 hours worth of new shit every week, just trying to keep up with all the artists across Canada, and that's
Mhm.
just Canada. So um, when you take into account that everybody is on this digital era where, there's 120,000 new songs to Spotify every day or whatever the fuck it is. And uh,
It's crazy.
yeah, right. Like to actually, if I were to try to listen to everybody's albums, I would be sitting here in this fucking chair with these headphones on every hour of the day,
Yep,
and I can only play video games for so long or whatever, right? So it's a lot of the time it's
100%.
tough getting through even just the singles.
Mhm.
Um, so, but yeah, I wanted to hear you talk a little bit about like a lot of people are saying it is singles era now. Will we see more singles from you going forward, or it sounds like you mentioned an album coming next?
Well, the concept of the song is less so about like albums. It's I guess more what my angle was like I guess the other way that people would reference it is deep cuts, right?
Mhm.
So like you always hear about people, like talk about deep cuts from Jay-Z, ones that weren't smash singles or whatever, but are so
Yeah,
beloved by a niche core group of people, right? Like me, my favorite rapper of all time, Styles P. That's my goat, right?
the
So, and
Ghost.
that's super random to most people. Like most people are like, "What? He's your number one?" So it's such a random thing, but for whatever reason, something about Styles P hits different for me, man. Like maybe it's nostalgia, maybe who knows.
Yeah,
But that was more kind of the premise of it was like, yeah, I'm not the guy you go to for a catchy hook. You know what I mean? I'm not the
yeah,
guy you go to for something that you're gonna play at your fucking daughter's quinceañera. Like I'm not that guy.
right,
I'm a guy I do it just because I love it. If I didn't love this shit, I would have stopped a long time ago. There's way
right,
more profitable things I could be doing with my time. I've made myself self-sufficient. I mix my own shit. I record all my own stuff. I'm really kind of my own entity. So because of that, there's nothing really holding me back, right? But I do agree that our attention spans are terrible. Like I don't even listen to new music, and period. Like
yeah.
so I can't even be upset if I don't get streams because who am I to judge? I don't listen to anything. I listen to Tracy Chapman. Like you know what I mean?
Okay, so
So
you hadn't heard these guys' wrestling albums, then?
no, not the whole albums. I hear the same shit like
Okay,
everybody else, Instagram
sure,
reels and this, that, and the third, right?
right, yeah, okay,
So I'm nobody to judge, like to complain and stomp my feet and say, oh, like why aren't people streaming my music? Like, buddy, I'm just another guy in a sea of people.
for
I'm
sure,
really good at
yeah.
what I do, but there's lots of people that are really good at what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and like I was just saying, it takes that whole promotion side to really break through like that and find like a mass audience. You've got to have kind of some sort of team helping you push it and promote it and figuring out the best times to post and keeping
Yep.
consistent with posting and all this, right? Lots of money
Videos.
into promo and yeah,
Yeah.
money into videos. It's all about the visual side of things. They say you'll sell more albums with visuals than you will with the music itself.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So
It's kind of depressing, but
yeah, it is
such
what
is
it
life.
is. I
Yeah.
mean, the thing is that I feel like you kind of like you were expressing that like you don't necessarily need to do that if you're not chasing
Hmm.
the mainstream success. Then like why bother writing the song with the jingle as a hook? There's a
Yep.
line on that album cuts that like to ring bells it's got to have a jingle or something along
Yeah.
those
Yeah. Yeah.
lines, right? Yeah, and I mean that shit's like bang on, man. And I think that it's just going to get more niche for the like real hip hop heads. And saying real hip hop is cringy at this point too, but
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm too much of an old head. I listen to all
Yep.
sorts of new stuff and all different lanes of hip hop or whatever. But I think
Yep.
there's always going to be people looking for that lyrical, um, punchline, double entendre heavy type of wordplay that you're doing, man. I don't
Yep.
think it's going anywhere, regardless what the kind of mainstream is doing or what the temperature of the mainstream is, right?
a hundred
Um,
percent. Yeah. It's like I said, it's all about the passion for me. That's it. Like I have these discussions with other talented artists, and they're like, oh, I'm losing my steam because like I put out a song and it falls flat, and da-da-da. That's number one issue for me. It's like that you give a fuck about that. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I really, I haven't made this. And like, again, it's no shade. This is part of the reason I don't work in groups and stuff because I don't care as much as some of the other guys do. And I'm not taking it away from them. I'm not making myself holier than thou, but it's like, I can't, I can't make you carry the weight for me. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, I'm upfront. I'm honest. Look, bro, I have other, priorities. I have kids and soccer and fucking dance and a
yeah.
company that I run and a wife and all these other things. Music is, I love it, but man, I can't commit to like doing a tour around North Bay. Like,
Well, and
you know what I mean?
with group settings, guys start to look at each other like, well, how come you're not promoting the show next week,
Exactly.
or how many tickets are you out
Exactly.
there selling, or whatever
Yeah.
else? Right?
And again, it's like it's no shade to anybody who's doing that. And I got love for a lot of like I'm part of Ghidorah, right? And those guys have been people who have like embraced that and respected that boundary from me from the beginning. I was honest. I didn't lie about it. I said, look, bro, I can't commit like you guys can. You guys
Yeah,
can do an Ontario tour. I can't do that. Right. And again, it almost comes across as arrogance, and it's not. I promise it's not that. It's like for me to be able to stop working and not do my things at home, my level of entry now is almost too high, right? Like I can't. Some of these guys are chasing music. They're living in a different situation than me. Like I can't tell my kids, like, bruh, I'm gonna go for a tour for $500 for the month.
yeah,
Like I'll drown. You know what I mean? So now I've almost created a space where unless I blow up overnight, I don't know how realistic it is to say that this is gonna be my career.
yeah. So
So
I like to ask artists, like, what does success look like? It kind of sounds like you've achieved the level of success you're chasing. You know that you've got people who will check when you drop an album. Are you still trying to push beyond the current level you're at, success wise?
listen, I think every artist wants people to hear their music. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, I don't give a fuck. It like
Sure.
I don't I'm not like sitting around like I'm never making music again because I didn't do a million streams. But don't get me wrong, if I woke up tomorrow and saw a million streams on one of my songs on Spotify, I'd be happy as a pig and shit, right?
Yeah.
I might be like, fuck this, I'm quitting my job. But I,
Right.
I'm, I, you know, I'm in a weird, I'm just in a weird position. Like it's just, that's not my main focus in it. I make music because I love music. And again, I kind of call myself like a writer's writer, right? Like I feel like a lot of the guys who are respected, well-respected guys who are OGs in the Canadian scene, they know about me, they fuck with me, they've shown me love, they've respected my pen and my artwork. So it's like that for me is a big enough dap almost, right? And it's like when I do songs like finishing moves, right? A lot of these guys like we're talking about will pretend that they don't know or they haven't heard about it or they want this or they want that. And it's like I know the real truth. And if you're feeling froggy, then leap. That's why I'm comfortable putting out a shot like that. Because
Sure.
you have an issue with it, then address it. Because again, I don't feel like any of these guys could fuck with me. So that's just the rapper of me, right? And I'm very battle tested in terms of on wax. I've been in a lot of squabbles on wax, and I don't feel like I've ever been fucked with. So
Did you ever do the live battle thing? Like, if you stepped in the ring for King of the
yeah,
Dot or those style of battles with no beat and
yeah,
memorized bars and everything?
I did two battles at King of the Dot way back. I think I was 16, and what I got dog walked both battles. The problem with me is at that time, at least, like I was like I was into Smack DVD and shit like that, read dollars. So that was my understanding of how a battle went. So I came in with like a Philly flow, bouncy pattern, sounds like I'm rapping on beat. And then this guy came out with like, you're huffing glue and your girlfriend's a whore. And I was like,
Real punchline heavy,
you know,
slow flow where you
and,
pause to
and
let the crowd react between
I
them.
was
Yeah.
confused, right? And then as time went on, my biggest thing is my memory. I don't know how these guys do that shit, bro. Even a one
Yeah.
minute verse like that, 3 rounds, I have nothing but hats off to those guys because that memorization would be the death of me. That'd be the
You know,
death of me.
memorizing bars a cappella is, I think, probably tougher too. I
Yeah,
mean,
the rhythm helps.
for me at least, yeah, when I hear the beat a lot of the time, like if I can think of the first bar, somehow the rest of the bars come behind it,
Yep,
and you can get it out on stage and it'll go fine as
yep,
long as you can kind of remember the first bit of it, and then it all just clicks. But yeah, the whole way that they like pause and like the crowd laughs for 30 seconds and their buddy pushes
right
them and
back.
then they got to
Yep,
remember the next bar, like that. Yeah,
yeah.
no, that would fuck with me, man.
That's a major skill. Like that, I have nothing but respect for those guys. And even in terms of penmanship, like those are the guys that I'm like, man, that those guys are different. Like
Yeah,
I'll hear these clever punchlines where this is like, I'm a Drake guy. I know that's like unpopular or whatever. I'm a big fan of Drake's writing style.
sure.
This is something where a lot of those battle guys do that same thing where it's like the most simple, basic shit you've ever heard. Like I have a line on the Wordplay King. It's like, I will put an end to your wave. I've never been so sure. And it's like, it's such a fucking, like, it's such a simple, not crazy, intelligent thing, but it's just like, it's so simple, but I've never heard it. So
Yeah,
maybe somebody else has said it. Who knows? Like, even this whole environment of everybody bit everybody's bars and shit. It's like, I don't know. I'm sure that I have a bar somewhere that somebody else has spit, and it's like, bro, who knows? Like ideas just float into the universe. Like
there's
even now,
always new stuff to say though, man. Like
yeah. Oh,
that's
I
one of my
agree.
favorite things with
I
lyricism is
agree.
like hearing a bar like you just said, end your wave, I'm so sure, so
Yeah,
sure, that's beautiful, man. It's just like so simple and on point,
yeah,
and it's using the new, like, the wave slang or whatever. Cut it
yeah, yeah,
short, like the short. It's beautiful, dude. I like that.
yeah,
I didn't catch that one listening through the album either.
yeah,
So it just goes to show how many different bars there were, because I did catch a lot of double entendres and clever
yeah,
bars in there. But yeah,
yeah.
can we talk a little bit about, I guess, the actual process of recording this album? Like, how long were you working on it?
I did this one in about a month.
Okay,
So sometimes I work fast, and like I said, then I have an album that I've been working on for 3.5 years. So sometimes things just happen quick. My last project, I'm not even trying anymore, was the last project, and it
yeah,
was the same process. I did all that was a local guy, that was Nostradamus. And he's done a bunch of projects with a bunch of different guys around the city. He's done 7-song EPs.
okay,
And it kind of happened so quick. Um, so I think for these ones, I just have a little bit more fun with it, and I think that makes the process easier. Like I said, I have my own home studio and all that good stuff, so I do all my own mixing. The odd time I might send like some, if I have a singer, I'll send that off maybe. Um, but it makes my life easy, right?
yeah.
I could write a 16, and then I could, within 20 minutes record. So it's convenient. Um,
That's nice, man. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you? One thing I've asked a lot of people is, do you prefer writing a verse and then jumping right in the booth to rap that verse right after you've written it, or do you, I don't know, memorize it? I know some people will write a verse and then like not record it until it's actually committed to memory. Um, yeah. How long do you like between when you write and when you record something?
I to be honest, again, I just think this is especially because I've had a home studio. I've had a home studio for fuck a decade, more than a decade now. So
Yeah,
it's something I advocate for. Like a lot of engineers don't even like me to talk about it because I'm like, I think every artist should have access to a home studio because
I
it
agree. Yeah,
expedites your recording time. It for me, that's the biggest thing. Like that's what separates a lot of guys is I'm so comfortable in front of a microphone because I've done it for so long. I wasn't waiting a month to have a 2-hour studio session, right?
right.
I have an absurd amount of hours in front of a microphone to where I know where my pop filter needs to sit. I know if I want to project this part of my voice, I can sit back a little bit more and it'll still work. So I think that that's for me the number one thing is having your own studio, like absolutely without question.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's
I don't
cheap
know.
enough now too that it's the bar to entry is not that high. If you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
yourself a PC already, you can buy the other pieces for 1,500 bucks and be
yeah,
decently set up with a preamp on a mic and your
yeah,
interface, and away
yeah,
you go, right?
yeah.
I guess the
But
DAW
yeah,
costs a little bit too, but yeah.
I got all that. I know against the rules,
Yeah.
but all that's cracked for me. Like I just,
Oh, there you
again,
go.
because I don't, it's not like I'm trying to make this, like I'm not out here like counting nickels and dollars for this. Like
Yeah.
if I can get a cracked version, I'm gonna get a cracked version. It is. I'm running on a 2011 MacBook Pro. Like I have a newer MacBook, but this one hasn't given out on me yet. So if it ain't
One of
broke,
those
don't
like
fix it.
don't update it
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
might
no,
fuck up
it's
situations.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's bulletproof, and I updated a few things. I mean, Apple are a bunch of dickheads, and they've since made it where you can't update anything; you have to buy it as is, right?
Yeah.
You used to be able to replace the RAM and change the hard drive and all that. So this one, I did some work. You know, I put a SSD in it. I updated my RAM. Anyways, the point I'm making is like it really is such a low level of barrier for entry. Like it is absurd
Totally.
how easy it is to get things going now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I definitely hear what you're saying. I think every MC should be investing in buying themselves their equipment, and because even just
yeah,
the ability to do as many takes as you want.
yeah,
Really critique yourself and be like, no, I could probably deliver it a little bit better. When you
yeah,
hear it the next day, jump back in the booth, try it again, or whatever. Like,
one hundred
uh,
percent.
yeah, that's so much more freedom than going in and paying through the nose for hourly at some studio and feeling the
Especially
pressure of some professional
yeah,
engineer staring at you through the window. And yeah,
especially when you're learning. Like that's the big thing is, like because I did when I first started making music. My first little bit was in a studio with like just a homie that had a house. I was, just everybody rapped. Then I did go through a point in time where I was paying for studio time, and I think it's not a great idea to be investing in that when you're, in my opinion, when you're going through the motions of learning and figuring it out. Like going in, especially if you're going to a decent studio, like, I was going to places that were 120 bucks an hour.
yeah,
So when you're a young artist, like, if you're going through the learning curve, you don't even know how to count bars yet. Why are you paying $120 an hour to record? It just seems so counterproductive, you
for
know?
real. Yeah.
So, but I mean,
Well,
the point
just
we
the
started
stress of it,
off
right?
with, yeah, it's ridiculous. The point we started off was do I prefer to rehearse and save my verses or record right away? I like to get it out of my head right away. So that's
Yeah,
me.
yeah, that makes sense.
It, it just seems
That's
fresher in
probably
my
the
head.
way most people are working if they've got the home studio, I think.
Yeah,
But just, I don't know. There are musicians out there who just kind of like go for that perfection. Or I've heard MCs talk about how, like, if they deliver it too early, it'll sound like they're reading it, things like
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
So
Well, I
it's
get
all
that. And
personal preference.
I think it just for me, it came with experience because again, me recording it first shot doesn't necessarily mean that's the take we're gonna keep. Right. It's
Definitely. Yeah.
just yeah, I could do there's times where I've tried for 2 hours to lay down a verse and been like, fuck this, I'm out of here. I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm gonna smash my mic if I keep it up.
Yeah,
So
leave when you're tilted for sure.
yeah.
Um, so, dude, there's a lot of video games and comic book references, and even kind of like deep cut sports references, and all sorts of different stuff like that. Stuff that I would consider kind of nerdy to a certain level.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
there's a bar on here where you say, "I'm sick of seeing the spotlight on these TikTok nerds," and I was like, how many of my fucking clips are you seeing, bro? Like, I
Well,
didn't
no,
think
but
I was
even
out there like that,
so
but
so
yeah.
even that, right? It's like even that is wordplay. Like I don't know if people will catch it. I say I can't remember exactly how it's worded, but I say real, spotlight, TikTok, short. So it's all
Okay. All the
short
different
form,
social media
right,
delivery video things.
of
Yeah. Okay.
shorts.
Yeah.
So again, even that, it's like for me, it's I'm gonna just name drop some people like Dax. I think I don't know how anybody on planet Earth listens to Dax. Like there's guys like that it's like I don't get it. I never will get it. It's just not for me. Maybe I'm just old, washed up, bitter. I don't
No,
know. I just
he he finds an audience the same way that these like right wing fucking
yeah, fucking
podcast
idiots.
guys find audiences, right? By like
Yeah,
writing songs about God and like
yeah,
writing songs about sobriety so that every person on
fucking
earth who's ever
losers.
gotten sober is
Yeah,
going to leave a comment and be like, "Oh, I got sober and you're so inspirational," or whatever. And it's
yeah.
like,
It
cool, I
pisses me
guess,
off.
but like yeah, it's
It's just not
annoying that
genuine.
that's the
It's not genuine, and that's what it is for me. It's like if you're really
yeah.
going through that shit, I get it. But when you're just latching on to, especially a group like that that's going through something who needs that, and you're just taking advantage of it, like you're a fucking idiot to me.
Yeah,
I don't care.
yeah,
And again, I know you and Daniel spoke about like you know, the political stuff and all that. Like I'm pretty outspoken on social media and whatnot. Like
sure.
I think that also doesn't help. You know, when I was part of, you know, when I was part of LRP, I don't know if you were super familiar with that or not, with
Yeah,
Lunchroom
yeah, I know the
Poets.
group Lunchroom Poets. Yeah,
I find that like my timeline and the audience that came with it, I'm seeing, especially now with all the shit that's going on in the States. It's like, I cannot believe that these people are like hip hop people.
yeah,
And and again, I'm fairly outspoken. My music a little bit. There's definitely stuff that I've talked about in my music. I'm a little, like I said, I'm an introverted guy, introspective type writer. So most of my shit's just my life.
right.
But I, it's that's been something that has really kind of, I think, tarnished a little bit of the audience that I have, because I'm one of those guys that I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. I don't care. If I had a line in a song a while ago, and it was like, yeah, I'm not afraid to call a cracker cracker if the shoe fits, solely because they buy my music. Like, it's just
Yeah,
like, I'm not here to protect your feelings because you know, you stream my album. Fuck off.
yeah,
You're
I
dirty.
like that, man. I heard a rapper from Red Deer who oh no, actually, it was an Edmonton dude. I heard him the other day, and he's got a new track out where he says something about like how he's hanging with crackers, and I was like, dude, like we get it, you're white, and you think that you need to use slang for like the other
Yeah,
white
yeah,
guys
yeah,
you hang around with, but like you
yeah.
don't want to say you hang out with crackers. That means they're racists, dude. Like that's not a fucking, that's not how you
Yeah,
use that
yeah,
term. But yeah, living in Alberta my whole life and like watching the hip hop scene as closely as I have, I've seen a lot of guys who are kind of like they draw an embarrassing crowd.
yeah,
That isn't really like fans of hip hop as a culture,
yeah.
or even fans of like rap as an art form. I think like they're just kind of there to party maybe, and like
That's
not really
exactly what it
thinking
is.
about it too much at all.
Yep.
But yeah, you've got a line that I heard where you say like something along the lines of like you got the type of fans that I'd never want to connect with,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
easily impressed by less wit or
Press with,
something along those
yeah,
lines, right?
yeah, yeah. And it's just
And
a lot like,
yeah, so I wanted to ask though, bro, like how would you describe the fans you do want to have? Let's talk about the that side of things rather than the fans we don't want to have.
I guess, I don't know. I guess I think for me in this, maybe this is fucking weirdo shit. Maybe it is, but like, I want like people who come to me and say, I fuck with your music, I love your music, blah blah blah. Like, it's like my barber. My barber is like, man, he didn't know I rapped at first. Like, it wasn't like that was how we interacted. And man, like, he just gets it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about it, and it's not like, yo, I'm your biggest fan and all that kind of shit. It's more just like, yo, he listens to my music, and makes him feel something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo,
Mm,
that you said this line, and I was like, ooh. And that's kind of what I'm in it for. Again, this is where the
yeah,
Wordplay King kind of loses a little bit of that. I understand that, because it's so far from what a lot of people are used to from me, even though it'll be a lot of people's favorite shit. But I think I just want music that it's like, I want an audience of people who, I guess, people I wouldn't mind having a conversation with, right?
yeah,
I don't want to deal with people and go and kiss babies and shake hands. And again, I do these shows and guys are in my face shaking bags of coke and shit. And it's like, bro, get the fuck away from me. Like, I'm gonna smack you.
yeah.
And that's, it's not, I understand it's not necessarily the right way to do things, but that's just me. And I'm not gonna change that because you come to my concert.
It's
Right.
not the wrong way to do things either. I think
Yeah.
pandering to everybody, that sounds more like the wrong way to do things,
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
get
probably
it. I
good
get
to
it.
stick to your guns a bit, right?
There's a
Um,
lot of these guys. There's a lot of these guys in this industry that's bro, 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 bro. I love this guy. Yo, you're my fam. You're my fam. And then I see them walk away, and it's, yo, fuck that guy. That guy's this guy's. But
yeah,
why? Why do we have to do it then? Why do we have to pretend that we're friends? I'm
for
not
real.
telling you you need to be fighting everybody and da da da. Da, but yo, I seen some of these guys out when I was active. I'm not running up and fucking kissing their ass. I don't know you like that. So that side of the game to me is so fucking cheesy. It's
Yeah.
just a cheesy way to move. Like, just why? Why do we have to do this?
Yeah.
And it just seemed
Uh,
like the move.
hate, especially behind the scenes hate when, people switch up when it's face to face, is
Oh,
just super corny, but it also just
gross.
drags the scene down. I think,
Yeah.
like the whole rising tide raises all ships thing, like that's
Hmm.
real. If
Yeah.
and a lot of people are, this is something that KRS-One talks about in the Gospel of Hip Hop, but he talks about how, like, outsiders to hip hop don't know what the fuck is good or bad in hip
Hmm.
hop, that right, so they're going to believe what they hear. So if the first
Yeah.
thing they hear is guy who says he's your homie fucking dissing you and
Yeah.
bad mouthing you and talking about like
Yeah.
how you need to stop or whatever, then that's what that other outsider person is going to believe. They're
Yeah.
not, going to test the bars themselves and come to their own conclusion. People don't have
Yeah.
that type of capacity, right? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
no, it's
yeah,
a weird industry. My thing has just always been, like I said, I kind of am who I am, and it's like you can love me, hate me, whatever, but you can't really say I'm disingenuous. That's a big thing that I kind of have always stood on. And again, it's been to my own downfall a lot of
mm,
times,
right,
right? Like I'm not everybody's favorite guy, but I'd much rather me and you establish like what our relationship is, just because I guess my whole thing is just because we make music doesn't mean we have to be friends. And
mm,
again, do what you're doing over there. I have no problem with that. I'm not shitting on the little guy. I'm not shitting on the big guy. I'm not shitting on anybody. I'm
yeah,
just saying, a lot of guys that I would in no other facet of my life interact with because I don't agree or align, or there's no reason we would ever communicate. They have it in their head that because we both make music, we have to have some level of camaraderie. And it's like,
right,
but everything else you stand for, I completely disagree with. So let's just cut the boat. Do your music. I'm not telling you not to do your music. I'm just saying we don't need to socialize. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Just
everything
do
isn't
your,
for everybody, right?
exactly. And that's it. That's my whole thing. That's been my thing for a long time. If I click with you, I click with you. If I don't, I don't. It's no hard feelings. Just
Yeah.
we don't. But again, that gets interpreted as like I just am an asshole, and it's not the case. It's just I keep my circle small. I fuck with who I fuck with. You know,
Here,
best wishes to
something that
everybody else.
something you said on there, that bar about the TikTok nerds bar or whatever. I was like,
Hmm.
it sounded like a slight to a certain segment of rappers. Like, okay, for instance, last week I talked to Word Burglar. I love talking to Word Burglar. The guy makes unashamed nerdcore hip hop, right?
Hmm.
And so I kind of wanted to ask you too, like, not specifically about Wordy, but just do you does hip hop need to have a street edge to it, a street element to it
Oh,
for you to
not
fuck with it? Because on Atzik, I try to play, weird art rap where guys
yeah.
definitely
No.
are
No.
not
No. No.
street connected, and then I'm
No.
playing, gangster shit too, right?
No. 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 That's not even remotely my thing. Like I said, I don't even really and truly. I don't even really listen to a whole lot of hip hop. Like I'm a
Sure.
'90s R&B guy. Like Tracy Chapman is one of my favorite artists of all time. Like I'm not. It's not about street. It's not about that. Like there's lots of guys that are quirky, interesting dudes. Like my boy Philly Regs is not even remotely a street dude. Not
Sure.
even remotely, right? I listen to there's a guy from the States that I deal with, Coulter, his name is. And like I think he's one of the most talented people ever. And he's a fucking weird guy. But I love him to death. You know what I mean? So it's not about street. It's for me, it's just it's authenticity, I guess is what it boils down to.
Sure.
Like if you're that guy, I have no problem with that, and I fuck with that. Like I said, you hear there's comic book references. There's this. I have a fucking 12-year-old son. Like you know what I mean. I'm into all kinds of nerdy shit. My kid. We're pumped about Stranger Things coming back, and we just watched
Yeah.
all of Daredevil because Born Again was coming out. Like so, it's not. I'm out here only fucking with tough guys. It's just I don't want to deal with somebody who's one way in everybody else's face, and then a different way on the other side. Like if you're making
That
nerd
makes
music
sense.
and shit like that, and you're like Mr. Nice Guy, and I'm everybody's friend, and I find out you're gossiping about everybody,
Right.
it's just
Talking tough
it's
behind the
inauthentic.
scenes about people and talking shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just disingenuous, and I guess that's what it is for me. I don't want to ever come across as disingenuous. Like I said, it's not for everybody. Maybe
Oh
maybe
yeah.
people interpret it as I'm an asshole. I'm okay with that. I'm not here to be everybody's friend because I'm not. This is with or without music. That's, I
Right.
guess, what it is for me. This is just who I am. It's not because I have a rapper ego. It's just in my real life outside of music, I have a core group of homies that I talk to. I'm not trying to be friends with everybody. I don't want everybody coming to my house.
Yeah.
So how am I going to be different in music? I guess is what my whole thing is, right?
Sure.
If I'm like this in real life, why am I going to go out into the rap scene and pretend I'm everybody's best friend? Because I'm not like that in my day-to-day life.
That makes a
That's, I
lot of sense,
guess,
man. Yeah.
again, but no, it's definitely no shade to like to nerd rappers and all that shit. No, 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 man. I'm a music head just in general. I love music.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I said, I probably listen to less hip hop, especially in the last couple of years, than I do anything else.
Well, you've mentioned a
So
couple different influences, Tracy Chapman and Styles P. I would say I can hear more Styles P in your style than
yeah,
Tracy Chapman, but in your bio it talks about an R&B influence and
yep,
kind of how because of that you lean away from kind of technical soundness, I think is the term that was
yeah,
in
yeah,
there, and from standard song structures.
yep.
And I kind of read that after listening to the album a couple times and thought like, well, I don't know, I'd say he's pretty technically proficient here. Like this
No, but what
sounds
I
technically sound to me. And then like song structure wise, like you're very much on point with the 2 minute songs, right? Like all
now,
of these
yeah,
tracks were 2 minutes. That's pretty
yeah.
much standard song structure from what I'm hearing in hip hop currently.
But if you listen to, I guess my point with that is I'm not I'm not the guy that's this one has a little bit of the hooks because that's how the way the beats were designed. But like one of my biggest critiques that I get from even my peers is like, bruh, you got to stop with these 34 bar verses and all this shit. And I'm that guy. Like my next album that's coming out, I have a 6.5 minute outro.
Damn.
Right. It's like I know that probably 97% of people won't even listen to the whole thing,
Right.
but it's meaningful to me. It's very deep. There's a lot of shit that I've never talked about, but that's going on that song. And for me, it was like it just needs to go out to go get out of my brain, right? I started with one long verse, and I was like, man, I have more to say. One other long verse, and I know that in this day and age, that's like the death of a song. A 6.5 minute song is
Are there hooks
absurd.
separating these verses, or are you
A
just borrowed
little
for the entire 6 minutes?
No, there's a
Oh,
little
okay.
tiny break because there's three different kind of topics, right? So it's like
Okay.
first verse is one kind of thing, second verse is, and I think that's what I mean. Like traditionally,
Still,
my music has been like long, free form verses, not a lot of focus on hooks. I never really been into that kind of shit. I mean, I was for a very brief point when I was young, like 18, 19, and again, I had a manager and I had a team saying, "Yo, like we're gonna make this happen, and this is what you need to do, and you need this kind of song." And but pretty well since then, it's been like, man, I put on a beat. If I decide I'm rapping for 2.5 minutes, I'm rapping for 2.5 minutes. I don't
right.
focus on like, well, this needs to be the part where the bridge goes. And that's where I refer back to Philly Regs. Like, I think that's why I say Philly Regs, I think, is the best songwriter because he can make a beautiful hook, a catchy verse, short enough, short and sweet, a bridge. He knows how to do all that. That's not something I know how to do.
Fair enough.
So
What can you say about the upcoming album? Any idea when people will see it, or you want
Oh,
to tell people what to expect?
I'm aiming for October. Is again, it's not this one. There was no promotion. I just put it out. Didn't overthink it. It is what it is. This album I've had, it's kind of an intimidating thing for me. It's called Love Lotus, and it's there's a little bit of like just music, but there's some songs on there where it's things that I've never talked about. I've never had the balls to talk about on record, and I'm a guy who's pretty willing to speak about stuff that my family and things that have happened in my life. This one is important to me, and it's called Love Lotus, as in like my whole brand for the longest time has been Fuck Lotus. I had two mixtapes called Fuck Lotus. This one is essentially, it's stylized as the end of a note, right? Like love, comma Lotus. Um, and it's kind of like it's something that if I died after it came out, I'd be comfortable getting all that out of me.
Okay.
Like I said, there's a lot of really deep personal cuts. I'm expecting to get some phone calls from some people after this music comes out. Um, but yeah, it's a long time coming, and again, it's been intimidating because I don't really have an album. These are like EPs and
Right.
mixtapes, and this is
Well, I was
something
going to
where
say this project is kind of like promo for the next one, right? Dropping it
in
now
a
a month
sense,
before. Yeah.
and it's ironic because it's such a different vibe. Like it's completely different sound all across the board. But
Sure.
it's just like I said, there's certain songs like I have a song about my dad on there, and that's something I've touched on, but this is a little bit more in depth. Um, you know, talk about my relation with my mom on there. There's some things that it's like it's again, it's shit that I just need to get out for my own sanity and my own peace, but I also understand that there could be some recourse that comes from this. I'm going to
Sure,
get some
man.
phone calls. So,
I hope it goes all right for you. I hope nobody's too pissed off with you. It's, artists gotta talk about their reality. It is what it is, right? Um,
yeah.
dude. So I wanted to get your opinion on something. A while back, I got myself into some hot water online when I posted something along the lines. I deleted it because people started coming at me in the comments for it. But I said something along the lines of like, I prefer rappers who can read. You know, this is a wordplay thing. We're here for lyrics, right? So
I wouldn't have
uh
deleted it.
well, people very quickly came at me being like, this is a white guy with an elitist take, and
Oh, there you
like,
go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
telling me that like, and I kind of, in retrospect, I can see that point. I
And
can
the
agree that
irony is it
like,
was
I don't
probably
want to
mostly
fucking
white
be the
guys.
well, yeah, probably, but I don't want to be the gatekeeper who's like, no, you got to be this level of smart
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to rap or whatever. But at the same time, like it's tough for me to get around that this is a wordplay sport, and like
Yeah.
you got to read some books at some point. So I wanted to ask you, like, does an MC, in your opinion, need to have a certain level of book smarts in order to be an elite MC? Was I out of
Yeah.
line in your mind for that?
No, no, no. They're just different things. Like, so the reason that I rap, and this is the funniest shit ever, is like because everybody's like, oh, I heard Eminem or Biggie or whatever. I'm gonna be complete, and I've told the story before. It's not a secret.
Sure,
Um, the first song that I heard that made me be like, yo, I'm gonna rap was Country Grammar by Nelly. So for me, for me, I don't have the traditional story like everybody else. Like I've never heard anybody else say that's the reason that they write. And it's not as though I rap like Nelly or anything like that, but there was just something about that bop to me. I guess what I'm going the way I'm working my way back around to this is like I have a soft spot for like a lot of Southern hip hop and like Master P, and a lot of those guys are, to be honest, even on their music. Now Master P's a clever guy, but he sounds like a
sure.
fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's maybe got the industry side, like we were talking about
Yeah,
the artistry side and the industry side. He's
yeah,
probably heavier on the industry side of things, being smart
yeah.
on that side, right?
So like in terms of like an MC, I agree with you because I've rapped with dudes that I've heard make up words.
Right.
Right. Like I've watched them do it and been like, yo, what does that mean? Like, I don't know. And it's like, yo, that's not a word, but it sounds good. And
Uh,
presenting themselves as like a rapper's rapper, I agree with you. There should be some level of you have some level of competence. You should be able to understand at the very least like mid-level vocabulary to be deemed an MC, in my opinion.
yeah.
But again, I have a soft spot for a lot of that Southern music. I have a soft spot. I'm a huge West Coast rap guy. Like I said, I don't listen to new music all that much. And I took a big. I think when I'm in a creative mode, I don't listen to as much hip hop.
Okay.
I just don't find. I find it almost like juggles my brain. But yeah, like I mean, I think. Yeah, I think you're not off. But making that
Yeah.
thing, making that about race is like I don't know, man. Like
Uh, well,
whatever,
and it
bro.
made me think like, all right. I mean, I guess some people, don't have access to education and stuff like
That's the
I
internet,
I
though.
did coming up and whatever. So it is what it is. But
That's the
yeah,
internet.
well, and like you said though, I do definitely like some rap that isn't like high intellectual
Yeah.
shit either too, right? Like it doesn't
Yeah,
all
yeah.
have to be lyrical miracle shit or anything like that
Yeah.
to make me happy. But yeah. All right, man. So I always do this how important segment of this podcast. I'm just gonna rapid fire a couple. How important is this or how important is that? Uh, be as brief or long-winded as you want to be, but um, how important is improvisation while you're on stage?
Very important.
Okay. Um, to actually be able to break into freestyles, can you freestyle well and shit?
Uh, well enough.
Yeah. Well enough to get through the till the next
Yeah,
chorus or whatever if need be.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. About okay, so you had a bar on this album where you say something like well, no, actually, you know what? I already asked you that shit. That was about competition. Let's do that. How important is competition in hip hop? Let's just make
The
that a
most
soundbite.
important. The most
Most
important.
important. Yeah.
There's nothing in me, to me, there's nothing more important.
Fair. Um, I think, yeah, like we said earlier, it pushes everybody forward. Uh, again, we touched on this, but I want to hear you say it. How important is living what you rap about?
Very important, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it's rapid fire, but just to clarify, it doesn't mean like you need to be like, if you say anything about drugs, you should be a kingpin. That's not what I mean. It's just, you know, I don't respect people who are like living in a fantasy world on music, and it's completely different in real life. That I don't fuck with. So
Yeah.
whatever
If
your
you've never
truth
been
is.
around drugs, you shouldn't rap about being a kingpin, you know?
Oh, but I mean, your truth is
Yeah.
your truth. If you're rapping about being a flat earther and then you find out that that's all a hoax, like you think you're a cornball the same way. So it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to apply to street shit. But
Oh,
anyways,
hell yeah. How important is it to be able to write a good diss track?
oh, again, for me personally, it's right up at the top of the list. I'd say
I'd
like
say,
top 10 most important things in hip hop for
okay.
me.
I'd say like 5 out of 7 tracks on this album could be considered diss tracks or at least like open challenge tracks. I
Oh,
don't know.
you must not have
Yeah.
heard my actual diss songs.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe they could be more pointed for sure. That
Oh,
makes sense.
they
Yeah.
are.
How about how important is getting grants for a Canadian artist?
Uh, Listen, it's fantastic. I've had received grants. I don't have a great track record with the grant, whatever you want to call them. I dealt with Factor. I've received a few. I didn't have the best of luck in dealing with after, but it's something that if you have a level head and you have the right people around you and you have the discipline to do everything right,
Mm-hmm.
game changer. Game changer for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody who can take advantage of it, absolutely take advantage of it.
Yeah. It keeps the wheels of the Canadian music
100%.
industry rolling, I think.
Yeah.
How important is any one substance to your artistic process?
Uh, you mean drinking, cigarettes, weed?
Drinking, coffee,
Ah,
whatever.
man,
People answer this
I'm
one differently.
I'm a cigarette guy, and I'm a espresso guy. No cigarettes, I got to get rid of. It's 2025. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, you're the
But
last one who
yeah,
hasn't switched to vaping, I guess.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, no, I like espresso. I like to have I'll have a few drinks maybe in a studio session, but I like to have a clean, concise head when I'm recording. Cigarettes are
Sure.
like a stimulant for me. They help my creative. When I'm writing, I can smoke like a chimney. But other than that, yeah, no, I don't really rely on much.
Sure. How important is having a theme or a concept for each album?
Depends. That's the easiest way for me to say it. Like if you're
Yeah,
aiming for that, then you're aiming for it. If you're not, you're not. I have ones that are jumbled mess, and I have ones that are highly conceptual. So
sure. Uh, let's do 2 more of these. How about how important is getting your streaming numbers up?
if that's your goal, if that's what you're aiming for, and you want to be successful and make money and be self-sufficient in this, then it's hyper important to me.
Yeah,
It seems like it's a snowball effect, right? Like people see bigger streams, people are more inclined to look. So
sure.
yeah.
Um, hmm, last one. How important is showing vulnerability in your music?
For me, it's everything. Like again, that's what this is. For me, it's all about the connection. So
Yeah,
for everybody else, it might be different. Some people maybe don't want to talk about anything that happens in their life. But for me, it's kind of what's gotten me through uh, a lot of the roughest patches of my life is being able to, there's songs I've written that have never even come out. because it's way too personal. But getting that creative process, getting out of my system, that was my therapy. So
Yeah.
I know that even that's kind of corny and cliche to say.
A lot of
Music's
guys
my
say it, but honestly,
music's
like it's
my
because
therapist.
yeah, but I mean, when I do a podcast talking to a bunch of guys who aren't necessarily making their living off of their music, right? Like
Yeah,
it's a bunch of guys who are paying their bills other ways and then making music. So
yeah,
I mean, there's got to be a why, right? There's got
yeah.
to be a what do you do it for? So I think therapy is as good of one as any. And I mean,
Hmm.
actually, I've run a program. I used to work at a supervised consumption site doing a music program, and I very much advocated for music as therapy. So I
Yeah,
agree with you. It is cliche and corny to say, "Oh, music is
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
therapist," but it's super true,
yeah,
especially in a climate where like a lot of men aren't likely to go get actual therapy. That's something I was saying online the other day is like, a lot of artists say music is their therapy, but like don't let it actually be your only therapist. If
yeah,
if
yeah.
if you got
100%.
real shit to get through, go see a therapist. You don't need to just
Yeah.
write raps about it or
Yeah,
whatever,
I
in my
agree. I
opinion.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have your support system and therapy. I have a lot of friends who are big into therapy. It's never really been my thing. And again, it's not to knock it. Like
Sure.
it's beneficial to everybody else. For me, this is suffices, right?
This
And
works.
and
Yeah.
and communication with my community, my friends, I have a decent support system in that way, right?
There you go.
I can
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
my friends, and even if they do bust your chops and say stop acting like a bitch or whatever, I know it's all in good faith, and they really would be there for me if I actually needed anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you
That's
need
big.
that. You need that laugh, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, support
yeah,
structure is very important. It's good for an artist to have that, for anybody to have that for sure.
yeah,
Uh,
100%.
um, so yeah, man, it's been fun talking. Before
Yeah.
I wrap these things up, I always ask a couple of the same questions. Can you describe the Toronto hip hop scene?
Uh, it's it's bountiful. There's a lot of amazing artists. There's a lot of garbage too. There's a lot of drama, politics, bullshit, but there's I don't want that to ever get lost in the sauce, right? There's
Mm,
so many talented people, and it's kind of a bummer that so much of the negativity and the politics and the this guy shot that guy and everybody's smoking a pack and all this shit that gets
yeah,
just forced to the forefront when there's so many talented people in Toronto. Toronto, not just in hip hop, just in general, Toronto is it's an amazing place for talent. So
yeah,
that's the one thing I could say. I really hope that people, if this is your first time seeing Toronto hip hop, don't let those guys be the determining factor, right? Those
yeah.
guys that are forced down everybody's throats, the presses, the top fives, the guys who are with the fuck shit causing drama. People are dying behind these guys. Don't
Right.
let that be your introduction and what pushes you away from Toronto music because
It
there's so many talented people.
it always makes me a little bit sad for the culture that, yeah, guys stealing chains and
Yeah.
people being shot and who's being arrested, who's coming out of jail. These are the stories that I end up seeing at the forefront of Canadian hip hop blogs,
Yep.
right? And I still don't have a single one of these 100 and I think you're the 110th interview of this podcast. None of them have hit 100 fucking plays
Yeah.
on YouTube.
It's
So
heartbreaking.
and there's so much talent out there that just gets slept on. So I
Yeah.
agree with you completely.
Yeah.
Toronto and beyond, there's a ton of
Yeah,
talent, and
Canada
yeah,
wide, yeah.
yeah,
It's a fucking it's depressing, man.
yeah, for real. Uh,
So
so in an effort to share the spotlight and tell people who's dope, can you name off some artists who you think people should be paying attention to? Maybe they might not be up on.
yeah, definitely. So like I said, my top of my list always and to the death of me is gonna be Philly Regs. Check out everything he's put out. He's amazing, man. I can't speak highly enough about him.
Yeah,
Ghidorah, this is the group I'm with Ulysses and Pound Banga. We only have a small project out right now. We've been working on more stuff. Like I said, I'm limited to what I'm able to do with them. But the both
shouts
go
to
ahead.
Eddie Jones. He put me up
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Ghidorah. I
Eddie
think like
Jones is the
as it was
mastermind.
still brewing or whatever, he was telling me
Yeah.
about you
So
guys
he's the
putting together the
mastermind.
super group. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's amazing. He's got such a good ear and like he's fantastic. Eddie's a solid dude.
And I hear he's
Um,
got one more album coming too, so people can look for that.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
That's my dog. Um, yeah, and like obviously you had Danny O. I have nothing but praise for Danny O. That's a legend. Yeah, there's some guys, but that's at the top of my list is Philly Regs. Like, I don't want to
Sure.
shit on anybody else, but it's like, man, if anybody takes anything from this, go check Philly Reg shit out, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
like
I
check
play
my
his
music
music
out.
on
I
that sick.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I
I play
love
his shit.
Philly.
Yeah.
That's my guy. I've been, tight with Philly a long time, but bias aside, I've been telling Philly he needs to drop a bag behind his music, man, because he's somebody, my music, whatever, it's a little bit more limited audience, but hey, he's somebody where I tell him, said, man, you get a real good video shot, you put a little bit of money into promotion, like I have no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind that he could put some on top 40.
Damn.
Again,
Yeah.
may not be the same for this audience. They may not be like backpack hip hop type shit. He can do that as well, but he can make a smash hit single that could get played in fucking grocery stores. I tell him all the time, man. So,
How about this, man? Can you name a Canadian artist who you haven't collabed with that you would like to?
uh, out of everybody that I'd like to work with, there's a couple dudes like I'd like to work with Atom Bomb. I mean, I think that would
Super
be
dope.
a good one. Me and Quake, we've tried to get something in. It's just things don't align. And then Tona. I think Tona might be at the top of
Yeah.
my list.
Nice.
Just I think that he brings something that it really piques my interest. He has a
Yeah.
different kind of cadence and tone, and I'd love to hear how me and him would sound on a record.
Yeah, he's got a lot of different styles too. His output
Yeah,
is always very varied, I guess. A lot of different stuff going on in his music, but
yeah,
always good. Yeah.
yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
all right, man. Anything else you need to plug or say? Any shows, tours, or anything like that people should watch out for?
No, Wordplay King, you need to go check that out. You need to go see if you can find any of the hidden gems in there, man. I'm telling you, it's I promise you, if you're somebody who's willing to listen, and if you have questions and you don't believe me, I can send you a fucking breakdown where you'll be amazed at how many little nuanced wordplays are in that bitch.
Yeah,
It's for me, like I said, even me, I'm my own worst critic, but I even listen back to it and I say, fuck, man, this is dance. So
yeah.
I'd say check that out and then be on the lookout for Love Lotus. That'll be out next month.
I can vouch for what you just said about your album, man. I'm somebody who prides myself on being able to dissect lyrics pretty quickly. Growing up listening to Wu, listening to all the super lyricists with a bunch of dense lyrics packed in there, and trying to figure out like what the fuck is being said. 20 years later, I'm pretty quick with listening through stuff. So if it's one of these songs on these 8 hours of new music I'm listening through every week, a lot of the time I'm kind of catching everything, I think. And yeah, today I listened through your album a couple times, and you mentioned a few bars that I had missed still. So yeah, definitely one of the more densely packed wordplay albums, which is fitting for Wordplay King as the title. It makes a
I
lot of sense,
appreciate it.
man. Yeah,
I
hell yeah.
appreciate it.
Where can people find you on social media, bro?
It's Lotus James on most things. It's Lotus James on Instagram. You find me on, I don't really use TikTok too heavy, but on all streaming
Only nerds
platforms.
over on TikTok, anyways, man. Fuck TikTok. No,
It
I'm in
was
the
for
same boat. I can't get any traction on TikTok. I'm better off
it
on
was
IG.
it was for the sake of the wordplay, my brother. Like I told you, man.
Yeah,
It's really not that deep on that one, I promise you. The deepest one, like you picked it up right away. The deepest one was finishing moves, and I'm just waiting for someone to say something.
hey. Well, I mean, hey, I like some of those wrestling albums that came out. I've played some of them on At6, so I'm not going to choose a side here
No,
or
no, I
anything,
know.
but
Listen,
I'm
I
always
don't.
happy to see lyricists go at it
Oh
as long
man,
as things just stay lyrical and
perfect. That's exactly what I was
competitive, right?
waiting for. That's
Yeah,
all. That's all I want to hear, man. That's it. This is about the sport. This is not about anything else. So,
hell yeah.
none personal, man. It's just business,
I love it. All right,
brother.
dude.
I
It's been
appreciate
great
you.
talking with you. Yeah, thank you,
All
dude.
right, bro.
All right, have a good one.
Okay,
Peace.
you too.
All right, there it was, folks. I had a great time talking with Lotus James. Go check out Wordplay King. Like he said, he can't recommend Philly Regs enough. Make sure you go check out his homie Philly Regs. I've got a lot more interviews coming up. We are booked steady. Oh, no, that's not what's supposed to be there. Just a second, I'll cut this out in the post. There. That should be the schedule. Yeah, now there's a schedule on screen. So coming up next week on September 23rd here on twitch.tv/Doobyis, I will be talking to Winnipeg-based MC OG Hellenbach. Dude helped pave the lane for First Nations hip-hop in the country. You know, I'm really looking forward to that. He's hilarious on TikTok. He's one of those fucking TikTok nerds. No, he's a guy who's made his way on TikTok and found a good following over there, but I enjoy the content. September 30th, I'm talking to MLNY, Toronto-based artist who's coming out. He's got a battle in Edmonton in early October. I think he said October 9th or something like that. He's doing his first like organized battle up in Edmonton. So we're going to talk about that, plus all of the music that he makes, plus whatever else. And then October 7th, I talked to Montreal-based artists Slick Jack and Vincent Price. I was supposed to talk to Slick Jack last year. The night that it was booked for was going to be Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and you know I was cheering for the Oilers, so I canceled it. I flaked out. You know, most of the time I'm pretty punctual, pretty on point. I don't cancel these things. Rain, snow, whatever. I'm here, headache. I talk to the people I'm supposed to talk to, but if it's Game 7 of the fucking Stanley Cup Finals and my team might finally win it, then I'm gonna watch it and be disappointed anyways. But October 14th, I talked to Stephen Hero and Wolf Castle. I was supposed to talk to Wolf Castle last. When was that? In the spring. I was supposed to talk to Wolf, and yeah, he couldn't do it. Scheduling conflicts came up, so I'm glad that I will be able to talk to him and Stephen Hero. It'll be Stephen's third time on the show, and they have a collaborative album coming out soon, so we're going to talk about that. Always a good time talking to Stero. October 21st, I'm talking to Victoria-based artist Brainiac. I think, if I can remember right off the top of my head, he's with a label called Ruse Records, which is like OP Yeti and OZ and Brainiac. I've talked to OP Yeti before here on Flying Formation. That was a good chat. But Brainiac has a new album out with a Seattle-based artist named Kajon. So we're going to talk on the 21st of October. 28th of October, I talked to DJ Baggylean. He has, over the summer, he went out to Toronto to compete in the DMCs, like a turntablist competition. So we're going to talk about that and his experiences there. Into November, I'm still booking. We're still weekly. So Tuesday, November 4th, Ev Thompson, Saskatoon-based artist. Again, he was another guy who I was supposed to talk to last year, or maybe earlier this year. I don't know. One way or the other, we've had to reschedule, so I'm looking forward to that. I was going to talk to the other half of his group last time with him, but this time it's just going to be a solo interview with Ev. He's got a new album called 45 Isn't 23, a flip on the Michael Jordan and an age reference at the same time. And then November 11th, I talked to New Villain, and I've been looking forward to connecting with him, play a lot of his music on the show over the years, so it should also be a good one. Appreciate everybody coming through. If you're watching this thing on YouTube, you know, hit like, leave a comment. If you're watching on Twitch, hit the follow. If you've got Amazon Prime, you can get a free subscription. You just have to link your Amazon and your Twitch accounts, and then you can pay your favorite streamer a couple dollars right out of Jeff Bezos's pocket. I always appreciate people who do that. It is one of the only income sources that this show generates. So even though it's, you know, peanuts, it still is better than a kick in the ass. Appreciate everybody for stopping through and saying hi in Twitch chat. Keep doing it. I'll be back every Tuesday, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.